Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Soul Goals podcast. My name is Dawn, and beside me, I have the delightful.
Dixie.
There, I said it. I didn't say delightful last week, but yeah,
I love that. And
it
I
just
have the
flows.
delightful, or this way.
It's where the hands go. Yeah, if
hmm
you're watching this on YouTube, I always go one direction and then I just try to make a wave with my hands go the other way because I can't
That's
figure
right.
out which
It's
way to
offset.
point because we're like
Yes.
mirror image. It's
hmm
very funny.
It
All right.
is. It's
Well,
really funny.
welcome
Thank
to
you.
another episode, and welcome to
Yes.
you, and welcome for your past week. I'm excited to hear about this one. Today's opportunity for building our soul goals and diving deeper into who we are as people was fun. I think
Yeah.
I enjoy social media, and we are calling this one socially acceptable.
There you go.
And for that, it had to do with posting something positive on your Facebook story or your Instagram feed or your Instagram story or wherever you do social media for 1 week, just one inspirational thing a day. And it can't be something negative that tears anybody down. It's more about building up the community and changing your algorithms to really attract those positive things and using that social media as a platform to do good. And I think it's kind of the goal with the soul goals as well is, I think along there's a lot of really deep things that you could say about social media and the negative parts that
hmm
it is, but I want to try to explore what the positive pieces are and how we can make that positive today. So I
Yeah.
thought this was a good one. And interestingly enough, I learned something about myself this week.
Okay. Do tell. I'm so excited.
Well, so I usually don't have a problem doing this. And for some
Oh.
reason, yeah, I'm assigned to do this week. And there was a couple days I totally forgot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I thought when okay. Well, I thought you were going to say I do it every day, but then when I assign it to myself, I kind of get a little rebellious.
Oh, God. Well, it could have gone that way too. Yeah. I see that side of it.
But forgetting is, that's good too. Yes.
True. And so I'm like, again, I'm just gonna let myself off the hook.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to hear about your week as always, because I really think your insights are super valuable. And I love following your Instagram stories. You have some really great stuff, very
Oh,
inspirational always. So
I
tell me
love a
about how this.
good I love a good inspirational quote. I really do.
Mhm.
But I will tell you though, I've been challenged to put more of myself out there in my journey, and
Oh,
I'll get going and then I'll get like not brave and stop, and then I'll use inspirational quotes as a way not to really share my story with,
oh,
like, and be vulnerable.
right.
So when I get to, I think in the next day or two, what is today? I can't remember which day is, but I guess in the next day or two I'm going to be at the 30-day countdown to High Rocks. And
Yes.
so I think that's going to be the kickoff, the launch day of like a daily post and all that kind of stuff. But I say all that to say, A, to hold me accountable, and B, I love a good inspirational quote.
Yes.
So um it's funny. I don't think there's enough of it in the world. I think we do a really great job of tearing people down. Not we, you and me, but we as a
As a
whole,
culture.
as a people
Yes.
group.
Mhm.
Um, I just feel like with trolls out there and like social media and all the things where you don't have to, where you can do so much anonymously, it's
Yeah.
so easy to just like tear people down.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't like it at all. Like when people post things and then you'll see people come up under um and just criticize, and I'm like, you don't even know these people.
Yeah.
So I love to, like I always say, err on the side of lifting you up rather than putting you down.
Right.
um
And like you said, I don't think I totally agree with you. I don't think there's enough of that in our world just
mhm,
because I think it's easier for us to be judgmental when we aren't face to face with the person, the circumstance, or the situation, like in the present, like
yeah.
face to face, flesh to flesh. It's a lot easier to have criticisms and judgment. And I'm saying that as a whole because like I'm included in that culture kind of stuff. It's
hmm
hard to separate a lot of times your mind from someone else's critique of something when they put that out there in the world and their vulnerability. And if their vulnerability is not your it's not your shared experience and you don't
Yeah.
have a lot of relative insight about that, you can
Mhm.
be really quick to judge. I know I can.
Oh,
And like,
yeah, and then pretending to understand, like, where somebody is when they're doing something. I mean, it can be on both ends of the spectrum. Like, I follow, that I'm a my algorithm is has a lot of fitness and stuff in it, and I follow a lot of like people in the CrossFit space and the High Rock space and yoga and just general wellness and bodybuilders and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
And there was a post, one girl I follow, she's like, I really don't know what she does necessarily, but she was like a gymnast. She's super flexible, like she yoga, she's like her body can be so pretzely,
Yeah.
and she's so stable. Like she does a lot of things upside down, and she puts all these videos out there of her like upside down and doing like on her hands and doing all these crazy things, and her balance is just ridiculous. It's so amazing. And
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by that.
Yeah.
Well, she had a baby like, I don't know, 6 months ago, and 6 or 8 months ago, and she posted a video. It was the sweetest video ever, but her baby was lying on like a yoga mat,
Hmm.
and she was on her hands and face to face with her baby. And it was just like a cute little post, and she was like, mobility and whatever looks a little different these days, just it was so lighthearted.
Right.
And I cannot begin to tell you
Oh
the
no.
amount of comments that were like, you could fall, you could do this, you could do that. And then there were other comments about, obviously you don't know her at all because
Mm,
um do you think she would ever do anything to put her baby in harm's way? Like, and I'm like, you have no idea. This like
mhm.
trolling that way, that's
Yeah.
something that doesn't matter. Like that's simple. But I saw this celebrity who recently lost her husband, and I saw a video post with them together, and then all of the comments were very rude about her. And I'm like, in both instances, like, none of those people probably know what it's like to lose a spouse.
Yeah.
Or, and on the other side, on the way lighthearted side, I bet none of those trolls can even stand on their hands.
Right.
So
Right.
without,
You're right.
like, you don't know people, you don't know their life, you don't know what's going on with them on the inside.
Yeah.
And so rather than be ugly, just don't say anything at all, or
Mhm.
B, say, wow, that's amazing. I mean, if you just must be a
Right.
keyboard warrior, why don't you be one for good? I
Yes.
don't
Be something
understand
positive.
it.
Yeah. And I think so that's really interesting that you brought that up because one of my devotionals that I read this morning, I read out of a Buddhist devotional as well as
Uh-huh.
a Christian. It's across all of the genres every morning.
Yeah, you
It's
do.
like
I love
one
it.
into the other. And the
You're getting
Buddhist
all the wisdom.
I totally like pour it all here, pour it
That's
all in. I will take it all.
oh, yes.
Absolutely. But in the Buddhist one this morning, there was a story that a woman wrote about her experience with one of her friends who happened to be in med school. And she has a friend that was doing a Pilates seminar. And she talked to him about, hey, do you want to go and speak at this Pilates seminar because you're an MD or you're training to be an MD?
Mhm.
Be really, really great information, I think, for all of the people there in it because they're doing structure and anatomy and physiology. It'd be great to have you present to see what she's doing and maybe be able to comment on some of that stuff. And he's like, yeah, certainly. And so after it happened, she said she got a phone call back from her friend that was like running the seminar and said it really did not go very well because as they were sharing stuff, he stopped, got in the middle of it, and was negating it and was saying why it wasn't good to be doing X, Y, and Z.
Oh,
And
no.
yeah, yeah. So her point was that she had to face the guy because it's one of her dear friends, and so she wanted to bridge that gap between the friendship. And
Mhm.
she said, "I just want to understand better why it was that you felt the need to say that, felt the need to jump in. I understand if you have a difference of opinion and expressing that, but why was it that you were so quick to do that in that capacity?"
Mhm.
And you know what he said back was that I've learned that when I am fearful or unaware, the first thing I do is jump in and want to fix and want to do and want to control.
Oh, wow. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And she said it was a really great conversation that we had together about how people react when they feel out of control, the things that they say and the things, the reactions that they have for other people, be it on social media or in person. But I just thought that was
Mhm.
really interesting, that because I think going back to, you're talking about the trolls that are the keyboard warriors that
Mhm.
tend to go into those negative spins. I think a lot of times if we can get to a place where we understand that A, they don't have relative perspective about what's going on
Mhm.
in our lives,
For sure.
and B, they also are coming from a place of injury themselves personally. We all have trauma.
For
We
sure.
all have fear, like
Mm.
totally. And how we react is something that we learn along our path of our life and our years in this body. But I just thought that was really interesting because when you were talking about it, it did a little ding for me that, and you've always heard that phrase, hurt people hurt
Mhm.
people. You know, we
Mhm.
tend to, when we're hurting about something, we tend to just lash out at the people around us
Right.
because, and it's really subconscious, but it's the basis of that is our own fear and our own lack of control because of things that have happened within our lives that the other person that is experiencing that side of us has no idea about. So back to the conversation about you're reading about the girl that's standing on her hands with the baby and
Yeah.
everybody just commenting about how could you be doing that. I just, it's sad for me, but it's also it's like oh, my father-in-law used to say, with wisdom comes sadness.
Mm. Yeah.
And I
Oh, wow.
always,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I don't want to be sad about it, but I want to know what I can do to rectify it. So
Mhm.
you can have sorrow about it, but like, how do we rectify that? How do we fix that in ourselves? Because like we can't fix other people. But
Right.
so, that was the idea about posting those positivities on social media and the
Yeah.
fact that, like you're talking about, the thing that you do, putting that out there in the world, whether it helps one person or whether it helps 25,000 people,
Right.
it's something valuable, and it's something that, yeah, hopefully someone can relate to, and it's not creating a tailspin necessarily. It's
Mhm.
hopefully creating an upward spiral.
Yeah. Or if it just helps you, that's okay too.
Oh my
You know?
God. Yes,
Yes. If it just
absolutely.
helps, you to do it. But it's funny because I have heard from somebody this week. They slid up in my DMs that I haven't talked to in probably, I don't know, 6 months to a year.
Okay.
And I posted one of the things I posted that said, I think it said, by the way, you're gonna make it. And if you don't make it, you're gonna make it. And if you
Oh, yeah,
don't
I
make
remember
it,
that
you're
one.
gonna make it.
Yeah.
Just like it's okay, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna make it. And he slid up in my DMs and he was like, Dixie, I love all your posts and your positivity. It's such a light, whatever, whatever. And I'm like, somebody I never ever thought even knew I was on Instagram.
Yeah.
I
Isn't
was
that
like,
funny?
and I was like, that is the sweetest thing ever. But you just never know where somebody's at. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know where you just never know what somebody's going through that and how that affects them.
Yeah.
That particular one, I mean, I think I posted like 3 or 4 that very day, and I think that particular one is the one he slid up on, and
Yeah.
you know, I didn't really feel like that was the most meaningful of them all, but you just never know what's gonna touch somebody or what's
Right.
gonna that's like why I think kind words in person are so important because you are a smile. Like you just smiling at people instead of just walking around with a look on your face.
Mhm.
You never know who needs just a little smile. What's insignificant for you might mean the world to somebody else, or what you think is like, oh, well, that's a great thought. And somebody's like, oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
You just don't ever know.
Yeah. So it goes both ways. Like you don't know what people are, the stuff that people are carrying around for them, but you also don't know how your words, I love that you said that, are going to affect someone. I think so many times we hold back those positives for
Hmm.
fear of our own judgment or someone else's judgment on
Yeah.
ourselves, on us.
Yeah.
Like telling people, I had a really, really interesting interaction probably about a year and a half ago with one of my daughter's sports. And I was posting some stuff regularly. And I had one lady say, come back and say, thank you for posting that. That was really relatable to me. I was like, okay, that's great. Which it started a conversation back and forth. And we weren't close friends, but we kind of had a little kinship with that
Yeah.
conversation. And I remember saying, like a little voice in my head, it's that God voice, or that little winky kind of, hey, you
Mhm.
need to do this. And I thought, why am I going to say this? But it was about her daughter. And I remember my daughter saying something at one point about her daughter, and it was a positive. She's like, I
Yeah.
really like blah, 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 because she was very, like, she did I saw her do a really good thing in a group, or like in a really positive. And I think that's important. Like, we
Mhm.
need to be doing more of that. It
Yeah.
was very trivial. It was very minor. And we were talking in passing. So I told that woman, I was like, hey, I just want to let you know that it's been a while, but my daughter shared something with me a while back, just in passing, about your kid. And I feel like we say that we let people know when we have grievances. It's
Mhm.
really easy to say, I don't like this.
Mhm.
This is not okay. What you did was X, Y, or Z, in a negative light. And
Mhm.
yes, we have to address the things that do bother us, the things that are triggers. I think it is important for us to be able to have a voice when we have issue.
Yeah.
But I also think you've got to balance it out with letting the good out too, and telling those people the things that you don't hear very often. Like
Right.
school teachers, how often do school teachers hear that they're doing a really phenomenal job raising our children and teaching them these
Right.
lessons? So,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like we take that
Right.
for granted.
Yeah, we
So
do so much. And how much is it, like, not just teachers, but how much does it, like, just light you on fire when, in a good way, but light you up when somebody tells you that your husband said something good about you to them behind your back? Have you ever had
yeah.
that? I mean, like,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
was in the car with Anna one day, we were just talking, and she said, "Yeah, dad said blah, blah, blah," and it was about me, and I was like, "Your dad said that?" I mean,
Oh,
people always, I think people always love to be thought of, and B, everybody needs encouragement.
yep.
Nobody needs you to criticize. I
Right.
promise you, the inner critic in them is doing enough of that already.
Right.
I had a coworker one time say something about, I can spit people, I can chew them up and spit them out, before they even know it. And I said, you know what? I said, I'll tell you something. Anything that you would say to me, I've already said to myself times 1,000.
Mm,
So
yeah.
maybe we just have grace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That's so
or
profound.
or
Yeah.
if correction or criticism is in needed, maybe we have grace there too, and
Yeah.
not just chew somebody up and spit them out. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that's just my, I don't know. That's just how I try to live my life, because it's nobody. There's two things. Nobody will ever forget if you treat them poorly,
Hmm.
but they're also never going to forget if you treat them in such an amazing way that it kind of changes their perspective in a positive way.
Right.
You get to choose.
You get to choose. Yeah, you get to choose. You get
Hmm.
to choose. And I really like go on that adage. If you feel like this is an important time to give this compliment, this is an important time to let this person know they're important, or that you see them.
Hmm.
It just there's been too many times when I was younger where I would have those feelings and I would hold back and I wouldn't tell people that,
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, they're going to think I'm cuckoo. They're going to think I'm crazy. But
Yeah.
it's like anything. When you share those things with those people, like you just said,
Hmm.
it helps their perspective. It builds them up. They will remember that. But it also, like, you're going to remember that you did something, you put something out there in the world that was a positive today.
Oh
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah. And I'd much rather somebody's memories of me be because I made them feel good or I believed in them,
Mhm.
um, rather than I was irritated or aloof or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to ask your opinion on this one. I know I saw a reel last week and it was so interesting, and I hadn't thought of it this way at all, even though I like rationally know it. Yeah, well, like you talked earlier in the conversation today about your feed is filled with like CrossFit and high rocks and yoga and kind of movement based kind of things and
Like the
inspiration.
health and wellness space. Yeah.
Yeah, health and wellness. Same here. And
Mhm.
I never really thought about this because with, with raising kids in this digital day and age, it
Yeah.
can be very challenging. And,
Mhm.
what they're looking at, you don't always know depending upon their ages and what their
Right.
algorithm falls into. So the reel was talking about, and it was a prayerful reel, and it was someone that's a Christian that was saying, "Let me tell you," and he was, God, did talk about on fire about it. He was passionate about it. It's like,
Mhm.
I am fired up to tell you that your algorithm is yours. Social media does not have to be a negative. You get to choose who you follow, what you indulge in, what you put out there. You get to choose that.
Yeah.
And with the beautiful algorithms that we now have, you put it in a really positive spin.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, we get this opportunity to make our feed what we need it to be for us and for our human growth in the best possible way. And I was like, wow, you're not
That's really
wrong.
cool. That's
Yeah.
interesting that you say that because just recently, I purposely did an Instagram search on flowers so that they would randomly pop up in my
Oh, really? To bring him up?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I know it's sponsored ads, but they're still pretty flowers.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think twice when I see something I'm interested in. Now I'm like, oh, do I want to click on that? I don't know if I want 50 more ads
Yeah. Yeah.
about, I don't know, a coffee maker. Who knows?
Right. And marketing is so intelligent. Like the way the marketing in social media happens is
Hmm.
it's so intelligent, and it continues to shift. And now AI coming into play is
Yeah.
such a big game changer for all of those things. I just I'm trying to look at the positives of the social media and the digital age, and
Hmm.
but I think it really boils down to what we footprint out there,
Hmm.
and what you put out there is what you give back, and specifically about that algorithm situation. I mean,
Yes.
I think about the COVID time,
Right.
the dark ages, as we like to call them,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like, when we used social media to stay connected, but we also were indulging in horrific stuff that was a
Hmm.
lot of fear generated things that were going on in the world that none of us really had an idea about what we were existing in at that point.
Hmm. Right.
And so it was a seesaw, back or forth, and we all were diving in that because we were restricted from
Yeah.
seeing people and being that face to face interaction. So I thought it was important to connect people, but then I also go, wow, we really you can go down a deep dive, and you still can go down a deep dive at any
Hmm.
point in time. But I want to say that I think there's been a handful of people that I'm friends with, and I become friends with people on social media, and I don't if they don't agree with me or I don't agree with them, I don't disfriend them. I just
Right.
understand that we're two different people.
Whatever happened to the fact that we don't all have to agree to be like the fact that I disagree doesn't mean that I can't be your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole new. I think that's since 2020 as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I feel like as much as social media is a great tool for connecting and networking and all of that, I think it is also a very dangerous weapon of isolation
Yes.
where you think that your opinion is the only one that is correct,
Right.
that you're the only expert in whatever, and everybody else is that disagrees with you. Um, like the whole notion when people post something and say, if you disagree with me, you can just unfriend me now. Why in the world would I want to do that?
I mean, for me, I feel like it creates tolerance. And I'm not
Hmm.
saying I'm tolerating another person, but it's creating a place for me to go, okay, maybe the way I look at it, I need to expand my viewpoint. So I'm going to look at what they're saying and how they're saying it and what they're talking about. And I can either take it or leave it. And it doesn't
Hmm.
mean that that person, because we disagree, doesn't mean that that person and I are should be angry and should create division with one another,
Right.
you know?
Right. I
But I think,
completely agree. Hmm.
yeah, it's important to open up our perspectives. I believe that's my opinion, my opinion.
Yes. Yes.
But but
Right.
it
Having extending some grace to people who think differently than you, and maybe just being open to hear it. You might not agree. They may not
mhm,
change your mind. It's not about that. It's about human connection.
Yeah.
And if we have come to a place, I believe we were created to be in community. I believe we were created to have relationships and friendships with one another. So if we're coming to a place where everything that you say or believe, um, instead of connecting, isolates, we have a larger problem
Yeah.
that,
Amen.
than just information. And
Mhm.
the I mean, we got access to more I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know or anybody else, but when that's being used now to have us and them rather than we,
Yeah.
um, we have huge that's a problem.
Yeah. Amen. Hallelujah. Shalom
Mhm.
and namaste. All of it. All of it. You're
Right.
so correct. You're so correct. And it creates that sense of division, and
Mhm.
it's not something that helps connect people on any level. And
Mhm.
again, I'm just going to go back to the fact that we don't all agree on everything, and we shouldn't all agree on everything. And
No.
there's a variety of opinions and perspectives, and they
Mhm.
are what they are. I
Mhm.
mean, my passion is different than Joe Schmo's passion.
Yeah, I
My
mean,
belief is
my
different from
my
theirs.
my husband and I and our 2 children and my mother, we don't all agree,
Yeah, yeah. But
you
you
know, I mean,
exist together.
together, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
It's
about
crazy.
overlooking not about overlooking their opinions, but it's about keeping an open mind to overlook any kind of division that those opinions could
Mhm.
create within your confines, within your family, within your friendships, in your acquaintances even.
Yeah,
Like
it's just honoring, it's having honor and respect for you just as a human being. That's on the very
yes.
basic level. I
Amen.
mean, so I
Yeah.
saw this quote, today, and I almost posted it, and I was like, "No, I'm gonna save it." Um, it said that, the butterfly is a direct reflection of the caterpillar's bravery.
Ooh, I love that.
And I'm sure the caterpillar doesn't know how to be brave. That's one of the reasons why I didn't post it, because I didn't want people coming at me and going, caterpillars can't be brave. I'm like, it's the point. Look beyond.
Give me
Don't
the
be so
point. Yeah.
literal.
Yeah.
But I just looked at, when I saw that, I was like, wow, the beautiful place that you're in, when you find yourself in beautiful places, is a direct result of the fact that you didn't give up when it was really hard,
Yeah.
um, and you kept like fighting and growing and pushing and weaving and all the things. And it's the same thing now. Like we're having to figure out a new way to live, um, in such a hostile kind of environment.
Yeah.
It's harder and harder to see the beauty and see the bright side for some. You
Yeah, and
know.
it's harder for us to be able to connect as a human on you talked about, like, as humans
Hmm.
on that most basic level because of our circumstance, because of our world, and because of the division that's happening.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While you were talking, I pulled up your quote for the day, the last one that you put up today. I love this
Uh-huh.
one. "Hope alone won't get you there, but without it, you'll never start."
Right. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. I love it. Anything that speaks about hope. I mean, that's without that, where are you led?
Right.
Without faith, where are you led? Where are you?
Hmm.
My
Yeah.
opinion, don't have to agree with me. All good.
No, but I also saw something this week that said, would it say faith and fear come from the same place? You get to decide,
Yeah.
if I'm going to be afraid or if I'm going to believe. Either way, I'm presented with the same circumstance.
Yes. Yeah, it's
So,
choice.
mhm,
Like, it's all of the stuff that we're doing each week. It really boils down to choice.
mhm,
And I'm not brushing it lightly by saying that, oh, we all can actively make these choices and make these great choices and know exactly what to do in every situation, because we don't, and life is
right.
messy, and our stuff from the past and our triggers affect our choices. It's just a matter of being able to pause, take a deep breath, and then, which way do I need to go? Which choice do I need to make for me today, for the people around me today, for my community today? Which is going to best benefit this world and the people that are in it with me?
Right. And
Yeah.
you just have to find, life is going to be life no matter what. And
Yeah.
you got to figure out how to let the light in. You can't
Yeah.
just keep the shades closed all the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's no joy in that,
Right.
you
Right.
know? The joy is making people, say, "Oh my gosh, thank you. I never looked at it that way." Or, "You know what? You're right. It is a beautiful day." Or whatever it is,
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
It's being vulnerable enough, and you said that earlier. It's that sharing that vulnerability, sharing those pieces that we feel like might be judged, but that are positive in nature to share those, to share to relate to people, to help
mhm,
people understand that they're not alone. And like you also said, created to connect. We are here to connect.
right.
We're here to connect.
Yes. And so I loved this week. I loved being inspiring, just things that speak to me, just in an effort to connect to
Yep.
others. So, yeah,
Totally, totally. Let's go change those algorithms, kids. Let's do it.
do it.
Yes. And what do you always say? Do it afraid.
Do it afraid. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yes, I'm
Aw.
about 32 days out from doing it afraid.
Woo! High
Oh my
rocks,
gosh.
here you
Yeah.
come.
Oh my word.
I can't wait to hear all about that. Oh, we're
Yes.
following you for the next 32-ish days.
Yeah. You got it. So I'm trying to think. It's 33 days, I guess,
Okay.
away.
Okay.
Woo,
Ooh, it's all good. All
crazy
good.
train. Good stuff.
One day at
Nothing
a
like
time.
nothing like job changes, crazy circumstances, illness, all that coming when you're trying to train for a high rocks. Fun times.
Right. Like literally, folks, Dixie has had all of the things thrown at her in the last 6 to 8 weeks now. Yeah.
Yes, you got it.
Ooh. Yeah. So I don't want us to leave this episode without saying, hey, we're not being Pollyanna when we say, put the light, spread the light, be positive, do all that stuff, because each of us can sit here and tell you all of the shit that just went
Right.
down probably 60 minutes ago before
Right.
we hit the record button. Because
Right.
the reality is that life is absolutely messy, but
Mhm.
it's the choice of how you deal with it, how much you hang on to, where you go, what you put out there, and how you experience and process your world around you. It's because you're valuable enough to do that work, and you matter
Mhm.
enough, you matter enough, you matter to do
That's
that
right.
work. Mhm.
Absolutely. I love that. You
Yep,
matter.
you matter. All right. Until next time, guys, I'm Dawn.
I'm Dixie.
Hey, we'll see you again.
All right.